in sports like baseball to be able to compete, to get those recruits that are going to make a difference. So, it's interesting. I appreciate the breakdown.
I'll say this, T-Rex, and this is something I had a conversation with someone last night. The deepest pockets in sports, in my opinion, would be baseball. Because you're looking at baseball guys, most baseball guys, I want some opinions in the studio with this too. Most baseball guys, to play the Division I level, they've had pitching lessons, they had hitting lessons, they had fielding lessons, they played tournament baseball, they paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to play tournament baseball.
It's the worst take you've ever had.
And if you didn't do those things, you're not playing Division I college baseball.
You have some disagreements back here.
I mean, this is the worst.
But if they spent that much money, how do they have any money to afford Baylor? Right. They're broke by the time they get to college.
Well, they have that money to spend. They have that money to spend in the first place. You get where I'm going with that.
Man, you should be a financial advisor, Drake.
Baseball has the deepest pockets.
No, not even. No, are you saying out of all sports? Are you saying out of Baylor sports? What are you saying?
I'm saying football, basketball, baseball. Baseball's deepest
so
pockets.
That's three sports.
Far away.
3 sports. Okay.
The three. I don't know. Baseball's not a revenue sport, but the big three. Baseball's got the deepest
football's
pockets.
probably deeper. Helmets are expensive,
bro.
No, league kids don't buy their own helmets.
You just talked about how they're entering fancy tournaments. The kids that are playing at high levels have to buy their nice little helmets with their padding. Those are expensive.
No, they don't have to. You don't have to buy your own individual helmets and padding. You're playing.
They're spending so much money on personal trainers and
Pop Warner.
Dude, baseball. I play baseball.
Are we talking? You buy your equipment for?
You're talking about
for football.
You're talking, Drake, what you're talking about is some dude who plays YMCA football for 5 years. If anyone who has any kind of
Pop Warner, literally Pop Warner is not YMCA. Everyone starts out with Pop Warner.
How is our argument
matter?
Drake,
how is our
football
argument
developed in high school and junior high? Anything before junior high doesn't matter for football. It's not a sport impacted by Little League. It's not. Baseball is. Basketball, arguably. Football will never be impacted.
Boom. Agreed.
Basketball, if those people that play college, like those top players, AAU, hundreds of dollars to play every season.
No, I said basketball. And baseball,
which is way
football.
less than significantly less than baseball. Those AAU basketball tournaments, significantly less.
I don't understand
because the revenue, especially that comes off those basketball tournaments,
I'm not going to argue that. I didn't play basketball. I might have went to La Vega High School.
Why is it that?
That's got a good point.
Why is it that when I bring up football, it's Pop Warner, but when you bring up baseball, it's $2,000 tournaments of the highest level? There's high levels in football too. These kids that are going pro are in like the highest level tournaments with the highest level. You can spend a ton of money on football if you like. There's opportunity. I played single A baseball. That probably cost me $100. I mean, and I had a crappy bat and a crappy mitt. You can play Pop Warner football.
Are you still playing baseball? You still playing baseball?
No.
Exactly.
How does that make sense?
Hold on, guys.
Exactly, Drake. You just shut that. You just.
Are you still playing
You're arguing against yourself. You're arguing against yourself.
Hey, Rob, I didn't spend very much money.
That only applies to baseball, in your opinion?
No, I didn't say only. Did I?
Yes, that is your argument. That is your argument. That is literally your argument.
No, my argument is that baseball is the deepest pocket sport.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
But I didn't say it's the only sport you have to pay money to be good at.
What are you saying? It's the most expensive?
Yes.
But I don't think it is.
And then every argument you're proposing applies to football as well, equally.
How equally?
And basketball. No, because if you're talking about like you're paying like thousands of dollars to go for like trainers and stuff like that. That's like, for example, you take Trae Young. He went to like a bunch of like Chris Paul's camps, stuff like that. Those are thousands of dollars. I looked into going because I played basketball growing up. If you're trying to go to like a top camp, like a Nike Elite camp, that's thousands of dollars right there for just a session for like a week.
Okay. Baseball, softball, you're going to lessons every week, but here's the deal.
So you are with football too.
Here's the deal. Football, if
you're not if you're a quarterback, maybe like
what are you, a lineman? I'm a lineman. I'm going to lineman. I'm going to
camps.
every week. I'm going to lineman training.
Besides camps and maybe trainers, but personal trainers is not nearly as big of a thing in football for high school and junior high kids as it is in baseball and basketball. And there's no Little League or there's no AAU for football.
That's true, though. That's
I feel
objective.
like we're comparing apples and oranges right there.
What piece of baseball equipment costs more than a football helmet?
In no part of history has anyone ever bought their own football, had to buy their own football helmet.
Oh my God.
In no part of history has anyone had to buy their own football helmet.
Football helmets sitting on my shelf right now that are all game played in, and I paid a hell of a lot of money for this chrome one.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're playing in the top level football camps and that's not through like a high school or anything. They don't provide you crappy helmets. You go out and you buy like your Flex
You know how much
helmet.
fewer players are doing that than are playing baseball at the whole AAA level?
You know how many fewer players are going in $2,000 baseball tournaments compared to Pop Warner? Like the argument's the exact same.
So are you arguing money spent overall?
I think the argument should be I think the argument should be this. If you look on the parking lot of the football ops center and you look in the parking lot of the baseball field, there are a lot of nice trucks in the baseball field. There ain't that many nice trucks.
Boom.
This is me saying that every baseball player is a freaking redneck from West Texas, but, you know, and they have to have deep pockets to afford all that dip because tobacco ain't cheap. But, you know.
What? The Escalades are in the baseball parking lot. What T-Rex is saying is the Range Rovers
to win a Big 12 championship.
It's gonna take a lot because the private school deal, and you're trying to. There's all kinds of stuff with private schools where Vanderbilt's done it.
If we sell beer, can we have a championship? If we sell beer, can we get a championship?
Yeah, if we go Coke products, we got to give away Pepsi.
I just want to sell beer.
T-Rex, thanks for your call.
Oh my gosh.
T-Rex. Yeah, no, the Escalades are in the base. The Range Rovers are in the baseball parking lot.
That's not the argument. That's fine.
So here's the deal. When you look at like numbers wise, the football. Yeah, I want to give you 2 points. 2 points. The football players that are like,
of course you do,
elite, right? Because that's what an argument is made up of.
Yeah,
is points.
Keep going.
The football players, the elite level, not like, hey, my mom's paying thousands of dollars for me to go to these camps to play football and all that.
Fire helmet.
Those guys are, say, 10 to every one of those. There are 10 kids playing AAA tournament baseball, thousands of dollars to get in these tournaments, and there are 30, 40 teams in every single one of these tournaments in cities across America. To every one football player that's playing in that big time $1,000 I play tournament football, there are 10 that do it in baseball.
Do you realize how many people play basketball that at that level?
Yeah, you're making the argument for baseball. You can make that same argument for basketball.
Why? No.
You just
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. You go to Atlanta. The biggest basketball tournaments in AAU basketball are where? EYBL, Atlanta, Georgia. Peach Jam in Atlanta.
Those are also some of the most exclusive.
You get hundreds of teams there, right? You get those. Like, those are very exclusive. There are a handful of cities that host major EYBL tournaments in the country. Baseball, on the other hand, every state in the South has 3 cities that have tournaments on that scale, that have massive AAA tournaments on that scale with 20 or more, dozens of teams in them. There are exponentially more players playing at that expensive level of a sport in baseball than there are basketball.
You just said dozens of teams in tournaments of the same scale as the basketball
and
tournaments
way
that
more
have
of the
hundreds
tournaments.
of teams.
And way more of the tournaments.
Are you arguing...
the scale doesn't line up, but you're saying they're the same scale.
No, it does.
That's the argument.
That's not the argument.
Okay.
Your argument is... Are you talking about money spent overall, total of all people,
here's what point
or individuals?
Remember, point 2.
Because what that argument was for overall, which is not the argument
You're
at
just
all.
saying there's more baseball players than anyone else.
That is point 1.
So point 1 was completely void.
Point 1's not void because you got...
It had nothing to do with the argument. That's what we just
Parents
established.
in baseball are coughing up this money.
But you were arguing money spent overall.
Yes, but we're talking one person.
Yeah, you're
taking a whole team.
Yeah.
Which baseball, that's going to work because they have bigger teams.
The team trickles down to the individual. The team trickles down to the individual. And baseball, let's have bigger teams. Basketball, you're going to EYBL, I'm taking 10 or 11. Baseball, I'm going to Tupelo, Mississippi, I'm taking 11 players. Same size teams. So that's number 1, point 1, and it trickles down. Team cost more because there are more people. Parents are coughing up that money. Point 2.
Okay,
basketball.
That's still not the argument.
I'm going to talk.
Well, no. First, we have to establish that your point 1 has absolutely nothing to do with your argument, and therefore means nothing.
That parents are paying more money is the argument.
Now that we've established that, we can go on to point 2.
You're saying that parents pay more,
which is actually point 1.
You're saying that parents pay more money because there's more players. That's not the argument. You said there's more players on a...
There's more. So here's the deal, too. These entry fees into tournaments, into a AAA baseball tournament, I've seen it in Colorado. I'm looking at Colorado especially. It's where a lot of these big tournaments are. Mississippi hosts a lot of baseball. Colorado, a lot of softball. California is huge, too. Entry-level fees to these tournaments are much more than basketball.
How can you say that?
Why... It's objective. Here's the reason why. basketball, these tournament, EYBL tournaments, this is true, generate more revenue than a AAA baseball tournament. That's objective. EYBL tournaments generate more revenue, so the team cost, entry-level cost, is lower to those tournaments. Therefore, your parents are paying less.
But no, with basketball, like, you're not just playing that tournament. Like, you play in that tournament for like a week or a weekend, and then that next weekend, if you're like serious about basketball, you're flying out to California playing another tournament. Then you're flying out to New York playing another tournament. So
how many players are doing that in comparison to baseball?
If you're serious, every person on the AAU team, you take the AAU team around the country. You travel.
Man, how many people do you think play baseball? The sport is getting boring. It's dying. How many young guys are coming through compared to basketball?
Hey, seriously. I'll tell you how many. There are 45 players per roster in college baseball and 12 in basketball. That's the team. That's the comparison.
How many college baseball teams are there out there? Because there are 300.
Yeah. Division I baseball and Division I basketball have the same number of teams. Welcome to the big leagues, baby. So, what?
But there's more spots on a baseball roster than there's on a basketball roster. So that's not a fair argument to make because, of course, baseball's going to have more players.
I mean, individually, you're paying more to play. Here's the reason. Here's point
what?
two. Here's point
that had nothing to do. Everything we just talked about for the last 5 minutes has nothing to do with your argument.
Going back to the main argument.
Right, we're going to point two. Point two, okay?
We're on point two now?
Basketball. You haven't. No one's letting me get there.
Possibly attempting to tie this back to that argument.
No one's letting me get there.
So, go. I'm so excited.
Basketball skills and drills, right? We've established that if you are an elite basketball player, you probably go to a skills and drills trainer, and you go there every week. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why you look like.
Probably. Yeah. I mean,
You're going to a skills and drills trainer every week. You're probably paying $150 or more per session with that skills and drills trainer if you're that serious, right?
Now, if you're going for top ones, no, you're not. You're paying way more.
Okay, but how many are going to the top ones? Those top ones take what, 10 hours?
Hold on.
That doesn't matter.
You're making all these caveats for basketball players, but not making them the same caveats for baseball players.
But no one's going to let me finish my point to get to the baseball point, right?
Finish.
So you got these guys that are going to skills and drills, paying a lot of money for sessions. Baseball, here's where baseball gets different. A lot of these great players, too, most of them, because especially the young kids, they want to pitch. They're going to not just skills and drills basketball. You're going to hitting on Monday. I have seen this personally with my own sister. You're going hitting on Monday. You're going to pitching on Tuesday. You're going to fielding on Wednesday. And you are not only, you're one session, you're 2 sessions a week with these trainers. Now you're playing tournaments on the weekends. You have 3 separate skills coaches that you see in a week. The pockets in baseball, again, and T-Rex said it. You go to the gym out, like the Escalades are in the baseball parking lot. There are deeper pockets. There are deeper pockets in baseball. If you have more money, the more money you have, the better shot you have in any sport to have your kid be good, right? Would that make sense? More money to hire trainers.
Yes.
More money to get them in tournaments.
Obviously.
And there are deeper pockets in baseball.
Okay, that had nothing to do with that.
I would like to have a rebuttal. Okay, here's my rebuttal.
Escalades and parking lots?
The kids that are seriously competitive and are playing top dollar for these sports are traveling a lot. Travel is a lot of the cost, right?
Okay.
You said that there are, in every state, there's 3 cities that have the biggest baseball tournaments, so they don't have to travel that much. There's going to be a baseball huge tournament close to them. The serious kids that are serious about basketball, no matter where they're from, have to travel to Atlanta or to Los Angeles or to New York City for these huge tournaments. Those travel costs cost a lot more than those baseball costs to travel.
Not true.
Why is that not true?
Because, so you get the same as in basketball. The EYBL circuit is filled with how many teams?
Hundreds.
The top EYBL circuit. You're talking like Peach Jam.
You have a good amount because they do. It's a huge event,
right? And you have your A. You have different classes of teams. So your A class, your Peach Jam. Those are the teams that are traveling. Is it gold? Is that like a platinum?
I don't know exactly.
I don't remember this. We'll say it's gold, for example. Your gold class Peach Jam, we'll say 50 teams, right? I'd say comparable for baseball. Those 50 teams, the ones that are traveling, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Denver, New York, to play EYBL tournaments. In the same vein, while there are close tournaments, those EYBL teams, they're not ever playing a tournament in Branson, Missouri, right? They're not playing a tournament in Waco, Texas. They're going to the big cities. Baseball players, same thing. Your gold level, big time, AAA guys. There's a huge tournament in Dallas, but There's a bigger one in New York. There's a bigger one in Los Angeles. So they, same as EYBL, are traveling. Travel cost doesn't. You can't differentiate the two in travel costs, I wouldn't say.
I'm going to go back to your point on so you're saying baseball players, you have to pay for individual trainers for each portion.
Yeah, you don't have a hitting and pitching. Your hitting and pitching coach or hitting and fielding coach, not the same person, not the same guy.
Okay, but in basketball, you could say the same thing. You might have one trainer for your basketball skills, but you're gonna have another one for strength and conditioning, right? You're gonna have your own trainer for strength and conditioning, and then you're gonna have one that helps you on the court with your basketball skills. So they pay for multiple too.
I want to know. Here's what I'd like to know on that point. And I don't know if there's any way to get the numbers on how many basketball players. My thing. So. If I'm looking at football, basketball, baseball, which I think we've taken football out of the conversation. Football is really not that expensive to play as a kid. It's just not. Wow. Because you go in your little league but I want to know how many basketball players
I disagree.
Are on football. Did you have to pay $1,000? I was in third grade.
I did not have to pay $1,000 to play football, but I also didn't play past the 7th grade.
The third grade, I paid $50 to play.
You can, but that's okay. But
I got a helmet, I got pads, I got pants, I got a jersey. $50,
and you sucked
in any of these
because
sports,
you didn't have trainers.
In any of these sports,
which is the exact argument we're making right now.
You can spend upwards of. You can. I mean, if you really want, you could spend $1 million training on any of them,
and you would have a better shot with that training. Than a kid that spent $0.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna say right now. If you spend $1 million to train me, or you spend $0 to train Jared McKenzie or whatever, he's gonna beat me every time. You can spend $10 million to train me. I am not gonna hit as well as he is.
I don't know if that's true. But Jared McKenzie probably spent another $1 million on. I mean, who knows? We don't know what his baseball background looks like.
I could spend 10 times the amount of money on myself versus him. He's just got talent. I don't think that's what it's about. I don't think it's about who spends more money is the better player. I don't think that's how it works at all.
I would say training definitely plays a huge part in that, especially in baseball.
What?
Baseball
in every sport.
But look, baseball more than any other sport. I would say this. Baseball more than any other sport. Takes natural talent out of the equation more so than football, basketball. You don't know why? Athletes in baseball look a lot different than they do in football, basketball. Football, basketball players are specimen. You can be a specimen. Baseball. Bartolo Colon, 280.
Therefore, the training means less.
No. The training means more because now you're taking a guy who's not a physical specimen and trying to make him good at a sport. That takes extensive training.
Just natural skill.
No. You can have natural skill is so much more key in football and basketball than it is in baseball.
How many guys who go to a trainer are going to stay out of shape? I don't care if it's a skills trainer or what type of trainer. How many trainers are going to be like, yeah, you take this seriously, you're out of shape?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that has to do at this point.
Wait, so
you're saying that it's easier to be good at a sport and you need less training if you're just an athletic specimen, right?
You need less training if you're an athletic specimen. Not that you need less training, but that it is more naturally gifted talent, athletic specimen. You are more apt to be good at football, basketball, whereas in baseball, the playing field opens up a lot more.
So basically you're saying anyone with a lot of money could be good at baseball, but not so much in basketball or football.
That sounds right.
The more money you have, so say I've got $1 million and my kid is just a mediocre athlete, and I could pour it into any of these three sports for him to have the chance to play college something. Absolutely baseball. Absolutely baseball. I would say it's tough to argue that basketball or football, because again, I think natural talent plays a lot more into basketball and football than it does in baseball.
If you're trying to pay for success, I can see that. Wondering how we got here from the which one costs more, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that point.
We've kind of taken some
but that was not your original
here.
argument.
I think that does tie it. Do you see the correlation between that and the original argument?
I don't think it helps your original argument.
Wait, okay, so you're saying, I think I understand what you're trying to say. So, you're saying because you have a better chance of making it farther in baseball if you pay a lot of money, people are naturally paying more money into baseball than other sports.
Right.
Because they think they have a better chance.
Because they know their kid's going to have, Jimmy's going to have a better chance at going and playing baseball and being good than he would to go out there and play football, where he's mediocre at all three. But if we pour more money into baseball, he's got a better shot. So that's why more people are pouring more money into baseball than they are the other two.
But you were talking, at first we were just talking about one individual person paying for their sport to get to like the top.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, yeah, maybe more people in general are pouring money into baseball, but like for one person, I think it's about the same.
Right. I would say that's probably the argument that I should have been clearer on the front end. That's the argument that I'm making, that around across the board, that in that case you're looking at baseball wise, it's better. I mean, you got more people are pouring more money into it. Whereas if you're an individual, like I have $5 million and I want my son to be great at football, basketball, baseball, and he's good at all three, then I could pay that $5 million. I mean, individually, those sports probably cost pretty similarly or almost the same to make them great at any of the three. I mean, it's not like hey, I want my kid to be the best they can be at basketball. I'll pay $1 million between their 8 and 19 for them to be great. You're probably paying that same amount for the same amount of stuff in baseball or football. Yes. Maybe even, I think to Andrew's point, more so in football at that point. Like if you're, because those are just stupid rare. When you get, the more rare those things are, the more money you put into it. And football, it is much more rare to find tournament football, which exists for kids. So weird. Or like the 7-on-7 stuff, the Elite 11 quarterback stuff. That's so much more rare, so it's so much more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I initially thought you were saying baseball is the most expensive sport out of all sports, and that got me really excited to start arguing hockey. But then you said baseball, football, basketball.
I wouldn't have
unfortunately
sunk on hockey. I'm just thinking
hockey's so expensive. Hockey's so expensive.
Yeah.
Ice time plus you got to buy your sticks, and like they're so expensive. You got to buy your equipment. I still don't understand what Looney Tunes world you were growing up in, where everyone just gave you a helmet and just was like, hey.
Pop Warner League football, pay $50. Everybody gets a helmet, everybody gets a jersey, pads, pants.
Paid for that.
Oh, money.
Yeah, you pay like an entry fee to get in the league is $50. Like you play the whole season.
And they supply that all with you.
Yeah.
And then you return it.
You don't have
that's
exactly.
Nice. That was not how it worked in my city.
It's like you rent it out. You go play league football. That $50 lets you play 10 games. It gives you all the equipment.
Wow, that's some Bologna type stuff.
Yeah, that's not how it worked.
Not how it worked for me. It was like
you had to buy your
a
own
lot more
stuff?
expensive.
All of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst.
Helmet, pads.
We still have like helmets sitting around the house.
I want to speak to your league director. They need to be fired.
I think that's how it works everywhere else but Bologna,
I think
Arkansas.
you might be the odd character in this argument.
Yeah, I agree.
You made a lot of personal experience arguments here.
You did.
Wow. I mean, that's like it was $50 and you played football. That's how it should be.
I mean, that's
any sport.
it's a great
I can
model,
see why you think baseball and softball are so expensive, because you have that personal experience and you don't have that with other sports. With your sister.
I don't have it with football, but I feel I've been to a lot of UIBL stuff for basketball. I followed the UIBL really closely when I was in high school. And yeah, the money's astronomical. But I think we do get to the point where it's if you've got $5 million, you want your kid to be good at something, and you can put it in anything, and your kid's not good at anything, baseball's the route to go. Because you got a guy like Chipper Jones, slow as Christmas. Like, Chipper Jones on a basketball floor probably sucks, but put him in a batter's box, could hit the crap out of a baseball. You know, like it's just a completely. Oh my gosh, David Ortiz.
I thought the hardest thing in all of sports was hitting a major league fastball.
Yeah,
that's what I was told is the most difficult task in all sports.
Yeah, you don't have to be an athlete to do it. You know.
Yeah,
it's more
different. It's a different kind of athleticism.
Right. It's more of a hand-eye coordination thing than it is. You don't have to be a athletic specimen. Whereas in basketball, I can go out there and be big fat jumbo and have really good hand-eye coordination, but also I can't run, so I suck. Baseball, you can not run and be really good at baseball, i.e., Prince Fielder, Albert Pujols, Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz is slim. Is he not?
No. Nelson Cruz is a big boy.
He's chunky.
Stop my Nelson slander.
Armstrong, do you have that clip of me making the baseball argument?
What do you mean?
Why Baylor should make it in, that 12-minute clip of why Baylor should make it in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our top 5. It's number 1. We're not even going to hit a break here. We're just going to roll right in the top 5. I'm physically, mentally drained.
So
that was a very interesting argument, yeah.
Yeah, I'm bowing out.
18 minutes left in the show.
I think we're closing up shop. Well, no, I'm not bowing out. We're just going to run. That's our top 5.